All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is done. It is over. It is finito. Ferran, el tiburón. Let me not call him that. No, let me not call him that anymore because he's no longer an FC Barcelona player anymore. So I don't have to call him any type of nickname that praises the guy anymore. Let me call him by his govy. Ferran Torres has left FC Barcelona to join Paris Saint-Germain, the reigning champions of Europe, to play under Luis Enrique. As today, we got to confirm, here we go, from Fabrizio Romano saying that Ferran Torres to Paris Saint-Germain, here we go. Deal confirmed for World Cup final here as Barca receive a fee worth 50 million from Paris Saint-Germain. Ferran only won in Paris and the agreement has been sealed after being at final stages for several days. All done. It is over, ladies and gentlemen. The chapter of Ferran Torres at FC Barcelona is over. After 200 plus appearances for the club and 65 goals scored for the club, Ferran Torres leaves after how many years? What, 5 years now at the club? Wow, 5 years. 5 years at the club. It feels like it's been longer than that because of the amount of torture and torment that he's had to suffer. Listen, I know there's a lot of mixed opinions about Ferran Torres and his tenure at FC Barcelona, where I think for the most part, a lot of Barcelona fans agree that it wasn't the best. I would say it was mid. He had his moments. He had his goals. He had his trophies won at the club. I'm not going to say he was completely off or he was completely shit, that he didn't offer anything whatsoever. No, Ferran Torres was a good rotational player. He was someone that would come off the bench and cause some impacts. There were games where he would start and obviously cause some impacts, but we also knew how inconsistent he was, how he would make us suffer during many moments in a football match because he would miss sitters, he would make bad decisions, blah, 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 blah. Many mixed emotions of how his tenure was at Barcelona. But now it's over. Now it's over, so now we have to move on, and obviously we have to see what Barcelona are going to do now after losing their only striker left at the club. Because now we have nothing. Lewa left, Ferran Torres left, and now we have nothing. So, Barcelona, you better start moving. You better start moving, man, because, man, this is not looking good whatsoever. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But listen, in my last video when I talked about Ferran Torres and him getting his links to Paris Saint-Germain, I was on the boat at that point that we had to try and keep Ferran Torres because of the difficulties of trying to bring in Julian Alvarez, which is still looking to be difficult now, even more difficult at this point because, listen, we're getting close to the beginning of the season and no breakthrough whatsoever with Julian Alvarez. So, last time I made my video talking about Ferran Torres, I was on the boat that we had to try and keep him, at least keep him for one season. And the way that everything was going with the likes of with the likes of Julian Alvarez and how unlikely it was for Barcelona to sign him, I thought maybe Ferran is looking at all this and be like, yo, I can be the main guy next season for Barcelona. Because I'm pretty sure we can agree that if Ferran Torres would have stayed going into next season, he would have been the number one choice for Hansi Flick to be the striker for us. Because when we're talking about all-in-out strikers, who has more experience and who's more comfortable playing there with the players that we have up top, Ferran Torres would have been the only one, right? So I'm sure Hansi Flick would have really trusted him, unless he didn't, which would have been, I think, would have been, a bit crazy. But I would have been so certain that if Ferran Torres has stayed going into next season, he would have been our number 9 throughout the whole season, or at least the majority of the season. He would have played the important games as our number 9, right? If the Julian Alvarez operation never happened. So my idea was that Ferran Torres would have been looking at this and, show him what he's worth. Show him what he's really worth. Whether that be showing what he's worth, not signing a contract, and then next season, the following summer, Barcelona would have to offer him a massive contract and a massive deal that he likes and is up to his standards of what he's been asking for, and even more if he truly performed next season. Or he would have re-signed and really shown, why he's meant to stay at the club and, why he wants to be at Barcelona and everything, right? But that main thing came from his love for a club, his appreciation for the club. And obviously everything that he's been through for the many years that he's been at the club, right? That was the main thing. How much he really appreciated being a Barcelona player. And, that's what I was thinking. Maybe Ferran could be looking at this whole situation and, potentially want to stay to prove himself. Because when we're talking about leaving to any club, like the links have been to Paris Saint-Germain, we all knew that he was going over there to be a backup. Like he is right now looking at it, going to Paris Saint-Germain, he's going over there to be a backup. Maybe a shocking thing happens. I don't know, a falling out between Dembele and Luis Enrique where Ferran will be the all-in-out. I don't know. Anything can happen in football, right? But that's the idea right now, that Ferran Torres is going to Paris Saint-Germain to be the backup, right? But that was before his little tour that he had, going interview to interview, talk show to talk show, and everything that he was saying, right? We all know everything that's happened in this last week with Ferran Torres, him going to talk shows, doing different interviews, going to, Yankee Stadium, throwing the ball, the first pitch and everything, everything, a little publicity stunt right there for Ferran Torres, which I don't blame him for. Listen, it's a thing, footballers do, especially after you score a World Cup final goal in the United States of America as well, where you're going to get a lot more publicity there because it's nationwide, where it's being publicized, right? So, it's a brand thing as well. So I don't blame Ferran Torres for doing that. The problem that I had, which a lot of coolers had, we all had, the problem was the way that he was talking about his future. Him saying that the future is uncertain, anything can happen in football. He has a contract now with Barcelona, but anything can happen. But the main thing that he said that really upset us, where it really showed us that you don't want to be here, is when he said Barcelona have to show how much they appreciate me, how much they love me, and of course that means money-wise. How much Barcelona can up their offer for Ferran Torres to stay, because he's already been talking with Paris Saint-Germain, and Paris Saint-Germain had come to a personal agreements with Ferran Torres for a while now. Let's not act like it just came out after Ferran Torres did all those interviews. No, they've been talking for a while now, and numbers were set. So Ferran Torres offered those numbers to Barcelona 100%, and he said, can you match this or do even more? If you truly appreciate me, if you truly want me to stay, then you have to match this or do it even more. What I took from that whole thing that he did was that he was trying to start a little bidding war between Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona of who can offer the most money for him to play for that club. Either Barcelona offers him a big sum that he wants and thinks he deserves for him to stay at the club, or go to Paris Saint-Germain, who are already offering more than what Barcelona are offering, right? But the whole thing was about the financial stance, which, like I said before, I have no problem, and I don't think it's a problem whatsoever that Ferran Torres is asking for more money. At the end of the day, it's his livelihood. He's going to always look out for himself, right? But not in the way that he did it. Going out in public, going in interviews, doing it that way, you have to do it in private. Listen, if Barcelona truly value you, then, and you really talk to them heart to heart, like, maybe you could convince them. But clearly that wasn't the case, and it didn't make it even any better whatsoever when he did it in public and went out, and the fans just completely turned on him at that point, and they were like, all right, go, bro. You don't want to be here. You clearly don't want to be here. You want a financial raise, and you're not going to get that at Barcelona. Barcelona are offering you, so you can go. And Barcelona kept the clear stance as well that they would like to keep Ferran. They wouldn't mind keeping Ferran going into next season. But if he asks to leave, then they will let him go. They're not going to give him a problem. They're not going to make it difficult whatsoever for him to leave. And then everything went down in that direction where Ferran Torres asked to leave the club. Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona start negotiating, and boom, 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 boom. And now Ferran Torres is a Paris Saint-Germain player. Listen, that's just how the boat rolls. Everyone has their chapters at a club. Everyone has their story at a club. Ferran Torres has had a story at Barcelona, and now it's over. Listen, again, I'm not going to say it was completely shit. I think it was a mid-career at Barcelona. Again, he's won his trophies. He's got his goals. There's been some important games where he stepped up. I think the most memorable moment that we can think of Ferran Torres, unless I'm mistaken, you guys can tell me, is him scoring in the Copa del Rey final. Besides that, I can't really think of any type of memorable performance or goal that really just makes me remember like Ferran Torres, of how special he was for Barcelona or anything like that. Only the Copa del Rey goal, which was just the equalizer against Real Madrid, right? Well, a massive goal for sure, but that's the only memorable thing that comes to mind when I think of Ferran Torres. Besides that, I just get pissed off. I generally just get pissed off. Listen, the amount of times this guy has stressed us out, whew, we can't even put it in our fingers how many times this guy has stressed out. It's just insane, right? But now he's gone. He's not our problem anymore. And we'll see how he does in Paris Saint-Germain. Listen, I wish you somewhat of luck, but at the same time, I'm a hater now. I'm sorry. I'm a hater now. Listen, I've tried to defend Ferran Torres multiple times in this channel. You guys know how many times I've tried to defend the guy. Even during the World Cup, when he was missing setters, I still try to defend him. Like, bro, man, I'm going to try to back you, but it's just so difficult with Ferran because he just lets you down so many times. And the fact that he scored in the World Cup final, man, obviously we see how much his ego has skyrocketed after scoring that final goal. But now the question is, can he translate that ego, that publicity that he's gotten from scoring in that final to a regular season where he can demonstrate that that wasn't a fluke, that wasn't a one-time thing, that how he can be important for the reigning champions of Europe, that is Paris Saint-Germain. Because now the expectations for Paris Saint-Germain, especially when they're aiming to go for the three-peat, he has to perform. He has to immediately go into the club and perform. Again, we're expecting him to be a super sub. He's going to be a more rotational player. He's not going to start over Alexis Dembele. But at Paris Saint-Germain, we also know that they have the luxury of rotating a lot more compared to Barcelona in the league, especially where Barcelona have to play their pretty much their starting 11, their strongest 11 every single game, because we don't have that luxury because La Liga is difficult, right? So he'll probably get a little bit more minutes compared to Barca. You can maybe say that at Paris Saint-Germain, they have more protagonism. I'm sure he'll score his goals. I'm sure there will be moments where he scores his goals and he has some good games. He might even score a hat trick whatsoever here and there. And people will say, Barcelona are regretting selling Ferran Torres. They made a bad decision selling Ferran Torres. I'm sure even fans will have the same opinion at some point, especially the rivals are going to come at us if Ferran Torres does well at Paris Saint-Germain, right? But it's about what he can do in the big moments. And especially for a club like Paris Saint-Germain, who are going 2 seasons in a row now, stepping up in the big moments, winning the European Cup 2 years in a row. Now they're going for that 3-peat. And Ferran Torres has to perform. Ferran Torres has to perform. If he does perform, fair enough. Fair enough. He's that height that he's living off of from the World Cup final, he's translating now to a regular season where he's a clutch player. We can call him a great clutch player. He's a great clutch player for international level, a goal that will be remembered in history for a lifetime. And if he does that for Paris Saint-Germain to win in their 3-peat, poof, man, that's going to elevate him even more. It's not going to elevate him to be one of the best players in the world or one of the best players that we've ever seen or anything. But in terms of clutch players and memorable players, he'll go up there, right? He'll go up there. So fair enough if he doesn't. But if he doesn't, it's just a regular old thing with Ferran Torres, which we've been seeing with Barcelona for many years now. And now he's just bringing that to Paris Saint-Germain. So listen, it's going to be high expectation for Ferran at Paris Saint-Germain. He's going to have to deliver immediately. It's not a matter of him adapting or anything. Of course, he'll have to adapt and everything. But still, it's a matter of he has to get it rolling immediately at the club. Like they brought him in after losing a couple players, might even lose Barcola, especially with the attack that Paris Saint-Germain have. It's they already have a strong 11, they already have strong attack. Now him coming up to replace those guys, he has to perform somewhere near their level as well. So we'll see how Ferran Torres does at Paris Saint-Germain. Again, I'm just happy that I can take that stress away from myself of having to defend the guy when he doesn't do well. That's why the whole thing that he said, how Barcelona to show how much they care about me. Listen, bro, we defended you multiple times. The club, the manager, the fans, a majority of the fans, I could say, or at least a good amount of the fans have defended you so many times. So the fact that he said that, it was just, man, it just completely broke the relationship between the fans and Ferran Torres, where we have no problem with him leaving now, right? But hey, guys, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Ferran Torres leaving. Do you think it was a terrible decision from Barcelona, or did we make the right decision and it was time for him to go, right? But now on to the bigger things, the bigger picture of all this, which is, what the fuck are we going to do now? Because we got no striker. We have no striker, ladies and gentlemen. We have no all-in-out striker. Lewa is left. Ferran Torres is left. Who do we have? We got this report today. Hansi Flick has asked Barcelona not to give up on Julian Alvarez. The German coach has requested one last push to try to sign the striker. And apparently next week, Gil Marin and Julian Alvarez will have a meeting. And again, we'll have to see how that goes. But man, just watching the last video I made, talking about it being a massive week for both Rodri and for Julian Alvarez, it's not going to be a massive week anymore, because I expected Julian this week to push, to really do something. Where I expected him to tell Diego Simeone to his face, I don't want to play under you there anymore. And the Simeone will be like, all right, get rid of him, Atletico. But apparently Julian took it the nice boy route. He talked to Simeone calmly and everything, and he told him, I'm not happy, I don't want to leave. Instead of really going into his face and telling him, and Simeone was like, hey, you got to deal with it with the club, not with me. I'll help you out. Apparently, the reports that have been coming out is that Simeone is willing to help him out, that bygones be bygones and everything, but that he has to deal with the club if he wants to leave, not with Simeone, all right? So, now I was really upset about that Julian really didn't push or really show himself to as to how much he really wants to leave the club. Because again, like you said, is his dream to play for Barcelona? Well, sometimes dreams come once in a lifetime, and this is your opportunity to really push for it. We're going to see next week in his meeting with Gil Marin how much he's really going to push for it. How much he's really going to push for it. Is he going to be biatched by Gil Marin, and Gil Marin is going to go in and tell him, you're not leaving, and Julian's going to accept it? It's like, okay, all right, I'm not leaving then. Or is Julian really going to fight for what he wants? We'll have to see. But right now, again, it's looking bad. It's looking bad of us potentially getting a striker next season. Other names have been linked, like Lautaro Martinez, which I'm not too keen about. Other players as well, which I'm not too keen about whatsoever. And it just upsets me because we're FC Barcelona and we don't have a top striker. When we look at the other teams in the world, our competitors for the Champions League, all the top teams in the world, all of them have a great striker. All of them have a world-class striker. Real Madrid have Mbappe. Harry Kane is for Bayern Munich. Manchester City have Erling Haaland. Liverpool have Isak or Ekitike. Who do we have? No one. No one. We have to now makeshift Anthony Gordon or Karim Adeyemi or even a Rafinha to play up there, or try to trust Hamza, or pray that someone from La Masia just comes up and shines. That's where we're at this moment. And that just really upsets me, because the only players that we can try to bring in as a striker for Barcelona is like a dream striker and a top level striker, a world class striker, is Julian Alvarez or Erling Haaland. And we already know Erling Haaland is impossible, especially this summer. Next summer, I don't know how easy it could be, or how feasible it could really be. But Julian Alvarez was the realistic option this summer, and nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. So that's what really upsets me. But what will really upset me even more is the fact that we don't get anything done, and we have to settle for whatever is there. And it's not a name that really excites us or really gets us excited for what Hansi Flick can work. And basically, it's another thing of Hansi Flick, work your magic. Hansi Flick, do what you got to do with the players available to you, which, again, sucks for Hansi Flick, because we all know that Hansi Flick is a manager that deserves to be backed. You have to bring him the best. And this is the point that we're at right now, which, again, just really upsets me. And looking at this transfer window so far, I can't say that I'm totally excited. Once we get Rodri over the line, that's when my excitement will come up again, because I love Rodri and I would love him to play for Barcelona. But regarding our other signings, Karim Adeyemi, Anthony Gordon, listen, I think they'll be valuable for us. I think they can definitely do well for us. Again, I'll have to see how much Hansi Flick is going to really trust them and get the best out of them. So I'm excited for that aspect of it. But really looking at the signings, it wasn't a wow. Well, what a signing that is, right? It's not that kind of wow factor with both of those guys. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. It's just the truth from my opinion of that. Rodri is a wow factor. Julian Alvarez is a wow factor. Anthony Gordon and Karim Adeyemi, not really. So, we'll have to see how this transfer window ends. It's not looking good as of now. Deco has been moving in silence throughout this whole transfer window in general. You know, when he got Karim Adeyemi, Anthony Gordon, and now Rodri done. But man, I need some type of excitement, man. I need some type of hope, man. But again, guys, we'll have to see what will happen next week with Julian Alvarez and Hilmai in his meeting that they have. How much Julian Alvarez is really going to fight for his dream, and we'll have to see if there's any type of possibility for Julian to play for Barcelona going into next season. If not, what are the plan B options? I think the one that I've seen that is showing some real interest is with the likes of Lautaro Martinez, considering Deco apparently met up with his agents already to speak about his potential to come to Barcelona. I don't know how concrete that really is, but as of now, nothing else, guys. Wow. That's the disappointing part about this, but man, transfer windows, Barcelona, summer transfer windows, never the funnest, never fun whatsoever. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the video. What do you guys think about Ferran Torres going to Barcelona? Are you happy about it? Are you upset about it? Let me know those things in the comments below. And how are you feeling about us actually getting a striker going into next season? Are you worried? Are you really worried? Or are you still optimistic that something can happen? Let me know those things down in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time we upload. Share your first love football. And I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever it is. Much love. Take care. God bless. And peace.